as men, right? As men, the halftime show was always something that was more for the women, right? It gave them something to look forward to because women just don't like football as much as men do, obviously. But it was always all about the Super Bowl show, the halftime show, or the commercials, or things of that nature. So, but this year, and obviously last year, because it was more of like a hip hop beef with Drake and Kendrick, so that was definitely something to talk about. And then this year, it was definitely very political, and so you know it was. But let me ask you, as a non-Hispanic, non-Spanish speaking person, what did you think about the show?
Well, I thought that it was way. I mean, it was more entertaining than the game, to I guess say the least. I mean, the game wasn't a bad game. It was just it was 12-0 at the end of the third quarter, all field goals. Most people would not be entertained by that. It picked up, like I said, a bit in the fourth quarter. The halftime show was inevitably coming in. The halftime show was probably being talked about more than the game, and I think that's continued even today, and will continue into the week. I thought that Bad Bunny put on the showmanship was incredible. The production was incredible. Probably the best production ever for a halftime show at the Super Bowl. Just because of it's the whole thing, the cornfields and the dancers and all the hot chicks and stuff like that. Now, of course, the two things I had an issue with was, number one, I couldn't understand a word he was saying, which most of the country that I would, well, at least the people, I don't know, like you said, it became very political, right? But it's like, what do you expect people to say? I wasn't mad, even though I'm a conservative guy politically, but I wasn't mad. I just didn't think it made any sense. Was I impressed, I should say, by the performance? Yes, but I do wish I could understand what he was saying. But then the other thing was, there was just that one little part where you had the two guys like gyrating in front of each other. I didn't really appreciate seeing that, but but overall,
Come on, man.
what? I'm telling the truth. I didn't want to see it. So, uh, but overall, yeah, it was. I mean, he's a great performer, and he's a big star. And I think for me, what it represented was, when I think of Latinos, that's what I think of. Just a bunch of hot chicks. Everybody's having a good time, dancing, listening to music, partying. The camaraderie is amazing, you know. And so yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I know a lot of people are of a certain, delineation, I guess you could say. Obviously, they have the Kid Rock halftime show on Turning Point USA. That was for the people on the right. Like I said, I'm conservative myself, but I wasn't mad. I'm not that. You know, I'm not to that extreme. But yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
So, as a Spanish speaking, obviously Hispanic, first generation of parents that were immigrants, there was a lot of like uh, things that you saw that made you proud, regardless of whether you're a conservative Hispanic, or if you're a, because I think that's one thing that Hispanics are, right? Whether you're super right wing conservative or leftist like liberal, you're a proud Hispanic, right? I think Hispanics are very proud of their heritage and all that. And so, regardless of where you stood on the issue, there was a lot of moments in in the show where you're like, oh, damn, like, it's our culture, it's our heritage, and it wasn't too political. Like, I know if like people pointed out where he made some references, but it was very subtle. It wasn't like it was like in your face. Like I mentioned before, it wasn't like, yeah, people dressed up in ice, uniforms, and he was putting people in cages or kids in cages. So it was very subtle. I'm pretty sure NFL told them, hey man, you know, let's keep it, you know, um, let's try to keep politics out of it. But um, But I could definitely see where the non-Hispanic crowd, not necessarily that they didn't have that they had an issue with it, but more like it was hard for them to really rock with it because they didn't know what they were saying. Like, it's like I said, it'd be no different if we saw the show and you muted it and the words were in French or the guy was speaking French, You'd be like, all right, looks dope, sounds dope, but what the fuck is he saying? You know? So it was definitely something hard to really rally around, especially like, but Bad Bunny makes music where the beat and the rhythm is really good. He has a very unique voice.